Hey, Mike. What? Who's got next?
What's good, y'all? It's your man, Hezo, and welcome back to the Blacktop, where I always got next, you feel me? My goodness, what a finish. A crazy thriller in overtime. Hawks and Bulls, that was one of the best games that I've watched all season. We almost fumbled the bag twice, and just a crazy finish to the game. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Leave a like on the video. We are only about 30 subs or so away from 900, and we keep creeping closer and closer to that 1,000 mark. So let's see if we can get there by the end of the year so y'all can get that jersey giveaway. I've been stressing over the last handful of videos. With that being said, let's get right into it. So let's talk some hoops, man. Overtime thriller in Atlanta. Atlanta comes out with a dub and ends a 3-game losing streak. DeAndre Hunter back in the lineup. And y'all see, I got the, the shirt on, right? I got to support my boy. My fiance actually just got me this shirt for my birthday. My birthday is on Tuesday, so wish your boy a happy birthday. So the game starts out and both offenses were trading baskets back and forth really the entire first half. Vooch got kind of going early. He had a really solid first half, but then was kind of quiet the rest of the game. Trey was really struggling shooting the basketball. His offensive struggles have really continued. But here's the thing, man. Even though as bad as Trey played offensively, and I'm going to talk about his crazy shot that he hit, not really crazy shot, but should have been dagger shot at the end of the game. But Trey was getting other guys involved. So even when your shot's not falling, he was still doing other great things for the team. He was looking for his guys. He was getting guys involved, and I think he finished with 14 or 15 assists on the night. So you love to see that. So even though his shot wasn't falling, he was doing other things and getting his guys involved, and you love to see it. Bogdanovich came into the game and really continued from where picked up where he left off against Brooklyn. Double O had a great game on the glass and offensively as well. And really him and Bogey just carried the bench unit the entire game. And we definitely need to see Bogey have another big game. And I'm really anxious to see how this team is going to, really play once we get JC and DeJounte back into the lineup with Bogey and AJ Griffin coming off the bench. And shout out to AJ, and we'll touch on him later in the video. The defense really played solid for the majority of the game. They were forcing the Bulls into turnovers, and they also had a lot of sloppy turnovers that were really unforced. They kind of shot themselves in the foot on a lot of possessions. And I mean, they were coming off a back-to-back. They played last night, and I think they blew Dallas out. Like, they put up like 144 points. So you know this team can score, and you know this team can light up the scoreboard with guys like LaVine and DeRozan. LaVine had a kind of, I wouldn't call it a quiet night, but he was really struggling to get his shot, at least his 3-ball to fall. He did hit a couple nice step-back middies, but DeRozan was really the guy in the end for the Bulls, and he had an incredible all-around game, as he often does, especially against the Hawks. He has been great all season long, and he's just one of those guys that consistently flies under the radar, that is just a consistent 25-point-a-game guy. And he just had another great overall game tonight, finished with 34 and 13, but just, and hit the clutch 3 free throws. I'm going to talk about that at the end of the game. But shout out to DeRozan, man, because he was not the reason why they lost this game. He had an incredible game. So Orlando goes up 8 going into the break, and there's one player I want to give a huge shout out to, man, who I've been really impressed with his play, and that is Trent Forrest. I think Trent Forrest has officially solidified himself as the other bench guard, to come off the bench in the rotation in place of Aaron Holiday and Justin Holiday, behind Bogey and AJ Griffin once our starters get back. But he has been so good these past couple games, and he doesn't put up box score eye-popping numbers, but it's what Trent Forrest has done just kind of with the intangibles and the other things that he does with playing defense and just getting stops, getting steals, and hitting a little bit, floater in the paint. And Trent Forrest, he's been a hustle guy. He has really been very impressive to me, and I know a lot of Hawks fans can say the same for these last couple of games, and I really like what I'm seeing from him. So shout out to Trent Forrest, man. So the second half starts, and the defense continues to pick it up. Chicago was still turning the ball over. We were forcing turnovers. Dre started to get going just a teeny bit, especially in the fourth quarter. I'm going to also touch on Dre here in a little bit. Atlanta goes up as much as 12 in the third quarter, but then the Bulls just keep hanging around, keep chipping away. Atlanta had a couple sloppy turnovers that, led to a big Bulls bucket to kind of keep them in the game, and that's what you don't want to see. I felt like we could have words are hard. could have put the Bulls away a lot of the times throughout this game, and we just didn't execute a lot of the time on offense. We were leading 7 going into the fourth quarter, but then as soon as the fourth quarter goes around, Bulls get a couple quick buckets, and just like that, they're right back in the game. Well, I mean, 7-point game, it's still a game. It's really anybody's game, but they went on a quick run, and just, it was battle, back and forth, back and forth. Both teams just trading buckets, trading buckets, trading buckets. And one player who was huge, and I mean huge, for the Bulls all night long outside of DeMar DeRozan was Andre Drummond. He was just an absolute beast on the glass, just getting in the paint, and he was a menace, bro. He was really keeping the Bulls' second unit alive. Kobe White hit a couple big shots down the stretch of the game. Those two were really big for the Bulls tonight. Just, you know, it's a heartbreaker to lose like that on a game-winning shot. Again, I'm gonna touch on that here a little bit later. But shout out to Andre Drummond. He's a guy who I have always liked, especially when he was in Detroit, and he wasn't really a dominant guy, but he was just always a dominant glass eater, and he really showed it again tonight. I think he had a double-double, had like 14 and 10 off of the bench, and a lot of times where, you know, down the stretch of the game, I thought that he should have been in the game over Vooch, because even though Vooch gives you offense, you're not going to Vooch down the stretch of the game. The ball's either going to be in DeRozan's or Levine's hands, and tonight it was DeMar DeRozan down the stretch of the game for the Bulls. DeAndre Hunter tonight was absolutely incredible in his first game, but, well, I wouldn't say incredible, but he had a really solid kind of underlooked game where I think he finished with 16 points, but it was what he did in the fourth quarter. He had 9 points in the fourth quarter, and he forced a huge turnover on DeRozan with about a minute and a half left in the fourth quarter, and he was just big the entire fourth, and then he doesn't get into the game in overtime at all, and it showed. We needed him on defense. Bogdanovich had a huge fourth quarter as well, but then just at the end of the game, we go up, you know, 1 point, and then AJ Griffin turns the ball over, and just so heartbreaking to see, man. I was I'm like, oh, there's the game, because I mean, now DeRozan's probably going to hit a game-winning shot, because that's what he does. He always hits a game-winning shot. DeAndre Hunter forced him into a tough, and I mean tough, fadeaway mid-range shot. Now, DeRozan can hit that shot. That's not a shot that DeRozan can't hit. But DeAndre Hunter really made it tough for him, got a hand in his face, and forced him just into a tough pull-up. Credit to Dre, man. He played so great in the fourth quarter down the stretch of the game. But then AJ Griffin, man, another mental mistake, and I'm just like, oh. Fouls Derrick Jones on an offensive rebound once DeRozan misses the jump shot, and that's just another mental mistake, man. Either way, I mean, it's not all on him, because you got to do a better job as a team closing and get the rebound when a player misses the jump shot with, like, right as time is about to expire. You have to do a better job as a team grabbing the rebound. So even though AJ Griffin fouled him, I can't put it all on him, because Derrick Jones is a bigger dude than him. Capella didn't get the rebound, and I don't even remember who else. I think maybe who else was in the game at that point. I don't even remember. It doesn't even matter. But they didn't corral a rebound, and that's what the biggest killer is on a play like that. He fouls Derrick Jones Jr., and we got blessed. We got blessed by the basketball gods, and he missed the second free throw, because the game really should have been over at that point, and the Bulls were about to steal, and I mean steal, a win in Atlanta. So the game goes into overtime, and man, Dre is not on the court, and I really question the coaching that Nate McMillan did in overtime. Well, he did a good job of making the adjustment at the end of the game with the inbounds play, but I don't understand why Dre wasn't in the game in the fourth quarter. I know he was probably on a minutes restriction. That's fine, but even just on the last play, I mean, Bogdanovich had a couple huge buckets in overtime, and Trey was just really incredible the entire overtime as well. Trey hit that should have been dagger shot when he hit the step back on Kobe White, and it wasn't for the game because DeAndre Hunter is not in the game on defense, and you have Bogey guarding DeRozan on an inbounds play with 1 second left. I don't understand that type of coaching when you have your best defensive player on the bench whenever Dre had just forced DeRozan into not a bad shot, but a tough shot at the end of regulation. Bogey jumps to try and contest the shot, and I do not like that. That is a tough turnaround fadeaway three with 1 second on the clock. Listen, man, if DeRozan makes that shot, you just live with it. You live with it, you being beat by an incredible shot by an incredible player. Bogey fouls him on a 3, and man, it's just, I'm like, there it is. There's the game. There it is. I knew we were gonna blow it. Son of a bitch. DeRozan makes all 3 free throws, in which, again, it should have been game. The game should have been over. 0.5 seconds on the clock. Trey's about to inbound the ball, which I was questioning as well. I know he's our best passer, but like, come on, dude. He's 6'1". Like, he can't see over a 7-foot giant. We call a timeout. Now Jalen Johnson's inbounding the ball. And boy, oh boy, what an incredible, and I mean incredible play to finish the game. And AJ Griffin saves the day once again with just an incredible shot. I mean, the amount of concentration and just the skill that takes to make that shot with 0.5 seconds on the clock, to be able to catch and turn and put up that layup with only 0.5 seconds on the clock, man, that was just an absolutely incredible shot. And shout out to AJ Griffin. He made up for the 2 mental mistakes in the at the end of the regulation, and he redeemed himself. And Bogdanovich, you owe AJ Griffin dinner because he saved your ass after you fouled DeRozan on that 3 at the end of overtime. What an incredible game, man. That was just an incredible game from start to finish. Like I said, man, a lot of guys came through. Trey was big in the big down the stretch of the game. Obviously, AJ Griffin hits another game winner. You love to see it. Bogey, another huge game for him off of the bench, but he did have that, you know, that mental error when he fouled DeRozan. So it is what it is. We got out with the dub in just an absolute thriller. So I'm gonna get into my final takeaways. Number 1 was Dre. Dre being back in the lineup. Even though he wasn't in the game the entire overtime, it was just what he did down the 4th quarter of the game. And y'all see how important DeAndre Hunter is to this team. After missing 4 games, he comes right back into the lineup. He hits a couple big shots down the stretch of the game, hits a big 3, gets a big defensive stop on DeRozan at the end of regulation. And DeAndre Hunter, just such a guy that flies under the radar, and I feel like he gets so much hate from Hawks fans, and I just don't understand it. I love Dre, man. I absolutely love him. He's one of my favorite players on this team. Great to see him back in the lineup. So number 2 was the bench. Bogey and Double O were absolutely huge this game. Again, another huge game for Bogdanovich off the bench. Comes in and hit like 5 or 6 threes. He was shooting the lights out. He had another 20-something point game. I think he finished with like 23 or 25. And then Double O, another solid game. The only criticism I have of Double O is he sets so many illegal screens, and it's so frustrating because you would think at some point he would correct that, but it is what it is. They both played great the entire game, so huge bench lift for them. And again, shout to Trent Forrest. I know he wasn't a bench player this game, but he is a rotation player, and I think he has solidified himself as the second guard off of the bench for this Hawks team, in place of Aaron Holiday and Justin Holiday. So number 3 was Trey. Another poor shooting night for him, but again, he did so much other things with playmaking and getting his guys involved. You can live with a poor shooting night if you're doing other things with getting guys involved, because he was looking for Bogey consistently throughout the night. He was looking for AJ Griffin. He was looking for Capella on lobs. Now, I will say he did have some unforced turnovers to where he was trying to get a lob and it was just picked off in the paint. And I think he's got to do a better job of cleaning up on that and getting better looks in terms of knowing when to throw the lob and just knowing when to swing it around. He did hit 2 huge shots at the end of the game. He hit the 1 deep 3, which I thought was a bad shot. Again, it was around 50 seconds on the 50 seconds at the end of the game, and then there was like 14 seconds on the shot clock, but shoots a deep 3. Now we know Trey can make it, and he did make it. I just don't like the shot selection. I would have been absolutely pissed, like, Trey, what are you doing, if he would have missed that shot, but it is what it is. He made it. We had a 3-point lead at that point. And then he hits the step back, should have been game dagger on Kobe White at the end of overtime. But then DeRozan obviously goes to the line, and then AJ Griffin pulls out with the incredible, miraculous shot that he hit. So shout out to Trey, even though he did not shoot extremely well. I think he finished 5 for 18 on the night. It's not about how you start, it's how you finish. And Trey had an absolutely incredible finish to the game tonight. My fourth and final point is the defense. The defense played relatively well the entire night, outside of a couple mental mistakes, on the fouls, obviously, with fouling DeRozan on the 3-point attempt at the end of the game. But they forced a lot of turnovers, and the defense was closing out on shooters for the most part. They held Levine in check for the most part for most of the game. He was kind of jacking up some threes in overtime, which was very questionable because DeRozan was really the guy that was doing most of the scoring the entire night. So he should have had the ball in his hands every single possession of overtime. So shout out to the defense. Hopefully we can continue to build upon this, and now hopefully we can start to string together some wins. So I'm gonna pretty much leave it there, man. That is pretty much all I have. Again, we escape with an overtime thriller. Incredible finish to this game. We got Memphis coming up tomorrow night. I'm not going to be doing a recap for that game, but I am actually going to do a pregame live like I have done these last couple nights. So y'all be on the lookout for that pregame live tomorrow, probably around 6:30, 7 o'clock. The game's at 8. So y'all be on the lookout for that. Leave your thoughts down in the comments. What did y'all think about this game overall? The overtime thriller, all that, AJ Griffin's shot, all the good stuff. Leave a like on the video, and I will catch y'all next episode.